Hello everyone, my name is Helen Belay, my pronouns are she, her, and I'd like to welcome you to the first of our series of interviews done as a part of the Horizon series here at the Citadel. Today I'm joined by two of my colleagues who I'm super excited to chat with, but before we start, I would like to acknowledge the fact that the land that we gather on is Treaty Number 6 territory and a traditional meeting ground and home of the First Nations, including both the treaty signatories, the Cree, Saulteaux, Nakota Sioux, Stoney, and Cree Iroquois, as well as other Indigenous peoples, such as the Blackfoot and Métis, who occupy this land. We extend our appreciation for the opportunity to live, create, and perform on this territory. Mieko, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us about what you do?
Sure. Hi, my name is Mieko Ouchi. I use the pronoun she, her, hers. And I'm thrilled to be here today and get a chance to actually chat with you two and chat with everyone out there. I wear a bunch of different hats. I am the artistic director and a co-founder of Concrete Theatre, which is a TYA company here in Edmonton. And I also work as a freelance artist, as an actor, a director, a playwright, a dramaturge. So I kind of enjoy wearing all those hats. Okay, over to you, Tai.
So my name is Tai Amy Grauman, and I am Métis Cree and Haudenosaunee from Ardrossan, Alberta. My father is Métis Cree and Haudenosaunee from Frog Lake and the St. Paul Métis settlement, and my mother is Métis Cree from Cuttknife, Saskatchewan, and I grew up between the two in Ardrossan. And I am a playwright, actor, creator. I dabble in directing sometimes. And I'm also, along with being an associate artist at the Citadel, I'm an artistic associate at Savage Society, and I'm working on several commissions for night swimming, Axis Theatre, and to have an Arts Club Silver commission coming in the fall. And yeah, doing a bunch of different stuff with a bunch of different people. Yeah.
Yes, and as aforementioned, my name's Helen Belay. I'm an actor in the city and mover and shaker and lover of stories. So on to our first set of first real question. What is occupying your time right now? Just whoever's ready, feel free to answer. Or I can go too.
Well, I feel like I'm just looking at a calendar. I feel like a week ago, so like not this past Monday, but the Monday before, it's like I had been in the space of all the lost projects for a few months, like trying not to look at the date and be like, oh, today I'd be in Australia or Colombia, like those things. I've just been trying not to do those things. But about last Monday, this really exciting thing happened where it felt like Canadian theater went, okay, and we're going to pivot, and made a hard right turn. And so what's really occupying my time now is like finding out, because I don't know about you guys, but I love theater so much and I don't want to not do anything for a year. So this really exciting thing's happened where theater's kind of gone, okay, what can we do? Not on Zoom, because I'm a bit zoomed out. I don't know about you guys. So it's like, what can we do and how can we do it? And what stories do we want to tell? So along with all my projects I was working on before pretty steadily, now it feels like there's a flux of things coming up with like figuring out how to do things with socially distant audiences or to just create and stuff like that. So that's really exciting. And and like taking the time to dream. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I'm doing now. I'm talking to my teams. Like a big show I'm writing is Used to Call Me Marie, and it's done. Well, done. It's done. And I've been writing it for 3 years, and it's a big Métis love story, and it starts in creation and ends in the present, and it's 8 love stories intertwined, that's not a word. It's 8 love stories intertwined. And it's a love story first, but became a historical epic as a consequence of the way time moves. And the whole idea is that there's only 3 characters: Esqueo, which is her, Napu, which is him, and Mistatim, who is best friend Pony, we call her. And we're about to start this big phase where we're creating all the music for the show, because of course music moves with the time, and we watch like drumming become fiddling, become country two-stepping and bluegrass and like modern country and things. So right now I'm spending a lot of time dreaming up what that looks like. Yeah.
What have you been up to, Mieko?
Oh, there's been a lot going on. Of course, like with my AD hat on, I've really been trying to reimagine with my colleagues at Concrete and the board and a lot of the artists that we work with, like how we are going to connect with young people in the upcoming year and what that's going to look like. And it might not look like anything, or anything we've seen before. So we're really, like you said, Tai, like taking the time to consider, reimagine, think about like what can we do and what's useful, like what's actually relevant to kids right now. What are they thinking about? What do they need theatrical intervention with? How can we be of use to schools and kids and families? So that's been a huge part of like my thinking time. And I've written some articles about it, and I've done some talking with my colleagues across the country. And then as a freelance artist, I've really been spending my time working on some projects that are in development or coming up on production, and trying to keep writing. It's really hard. I don't know about anyone else who's a writer, but like it's hard to keep focused. I'm finding it challenging. I know that Shakespeare wrote King Lear or whatever during the time, but like, wow, it's not easy to find the right headspace and discipline to be able to hold the whole plays in my head, I think. So I'm kind of struggling a bit with that. But like you said, Tai, like a lot of really interesting opportunities are coming up. Advocacy wise, I'm doing a bunch of different things, and I've been able to do some projects that I had never really considered before. So the NAC invited me to work on the climate change cycle with them, and I'm going to be doing an artistic response to their recent kind of get together online. So I've been thinking a lot about climate change, as well as all these other things. And I guess I'm gardening to stay sane. I'm gardening.
What are you
some
growing?
time just weeding my garden and planting things. And my peonies bloomed yesterday, and I was so happy. In the rain, they did it. So I was super proud of them for making it. So I think that's what's been occupying my time right now. Yeah. How about you, Helen?
I've been thinking a lot just about what I want my practice to look like, and how I want to approach the work going forward. I graduated school last year, and I've been very fortunate and have been working a lot since. But that transition from school, where your practice is so incredibly controlled, and then not necessarily having any time to ruminate on how I want to move through the world, has put me in this very reflective time. Yeah. So there's that, and that's not a depressing thing. It just is what it is, right? It's quite eye-opening, actually, and freeing, which is really nice, because it's allowing for what I'm hoping to be an actual further sense of autonomy going forward, and integrity to everything that I do. I've also been playing the ukulele a lot, trying to teach myself the guitar. I have very weak hands, so I've been really aiming to get bar chords happening. Cooking, hiking. I found a park near my house, which is just stunning. Like, just little things, because I feel like in general, a lot of us have forgotten what it means to just live and exist and not be hustling and grinding. And I've also been reading a lot of Ethiopian history. I'm part of the Ethiopian diaspora, and when my parents were quite young, there was a communist uprising that happened, and then after that, and like another coup or whatever that happened. And so they don't really know their history, and thusly I don't. And I've been realizing that I will probably be grounded as a human being just a bit more if I know precisely where I come from, because you can only go forward if you know the path behind you, if that makes sense. So that's been what's been filling up my time. So
we've had a full schedule.
Yeah.
A lot going on.
Yeah. There's a lot you put on the back burner, I find, or I'm realizing now. So Tai,
Yes.
what would you tell your younger self?
Well, this is actually something Lois Anderson said to me a year ago. I was Lois Anderson's assistant director on Taming of the Shrew at Bard on the Beach last summer. And it was really crazy because we had to, like, Lois really, really adapted the script, and Jen Lyons played Kate, and Andrew McNee played Petruchio, and they're just both such incredible people and actors, so full of heart. And something she said, of course, there was like nerves around it. There was nerves around like changing that narrative and changing that story to be Kate's story, and like changing it into a love, like turning it, like pivoting it into a love story. And so whenever nerves would come up with like everyone, as they did, she would say to me, or she would say to whoever had those things, she would say, would you let your younger, like the little person in your life, so like your child or like your younger self, we could not show them the version of Shrew that's already been written. So we have to do something else. And she was like, if you can't show your work, or if you're not proud of your work, or you don't have something positive to say to that little person, whether it's you or your child, or I'm an older cousin. And so like, I always think of my cousin Callie, and it really stuck with me that she said, and she would say, if you couldn't show your little person the show you're working on, you shouldn't be doing it, is essentially. And it was very, very impactful, and really made me think about the messages we send through our work in a different way. It taught me never to sell out, really. It really taught me never to sell out. Yeah. What about you, Mieko?
It's such a good question. There's a lot of things I'd say about a younger self. Like, yeah, there's a lot of things. I think the biggest thing is that I'd say what we do is who we are, but what we do is also not all that who we are, is not all of who we are. And I think in theater, we define ourselves so much by our work. And I think that's important, but there's also so much more complexity to who we are. It's about where we come from, our family, our relationships, how we move through the world, all these other things that we do. And I think that we need to take value from those as well, and not just take value from the gigs that we land or the jobs that we have. And I'd say also the thing I'd want to say to myself is like, embrace a bunch of different versions of who you can be. Because I think when I first got out of theater school, especially, I was like, I'm going to be an actor. That's the only thing that counts. And over the years, I think one thing I'm proud of about myself is that I think I was open to different versions of myself, to say, I can also teach. I could also try writing or directing. And that opened up a whole bunch of possibilities for me by kind of having a larger vision of who I was. So I think in this time of change, maybe that's good advice. I don't know, for my younger self and younger folks, to just say, be open to embracing different aspects of yourself you didn't even know you had, or skills. Or, yeah.
What about you, Helen?
I truly would just tell myself to calm down. Like I still have this tendency. It's gotten a lot more manageable, but I will. So when I was younger, I was told by my parents, and this was an act of love. I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way, but I was told, you need to be excellent. You need to be 10 times better than others to get half the respect, just due to who I am as a human being. And as a result, I've always held very high standards for myself. And I think that's fed into an incredible sense of rigor that I'm proud of, but it's also like, it can be so incredibly cruel and also ineffective. It doesn't actually take you anywhere. The moment you have lost that the moment you've lost the capability to remember the joy that this work brings you is the moment you should cease doing it. Because it's not going to be your best, and it's not going to be worth looking at, and it's not going to be worth doing. It's going to be a punishment. And that, God, like, you do not choose the arts to suffer, like, at all. At all. So yeah, I tell myself to just calm down, trust that I am enough and that things will be okay. And all hard spots end.
Yeah. And you'll make it.
Yeah.
You'll make it, right? Sometimes those things feel so epic when you're starting out, but as time passes, you realize we will make it.
Yeah, the stakes feel sky high. When precise, like what you said of that, we are not all that we do, is so true. And if you don't have a grasp on that, you also can't really access the entirety of your potential, which is quite unfortunate.
And I think this pause is making us all think about that, right? Because suddenly what we do is taken away in so many ways. We've had to kind of go, so who am I without what I do?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And you would want to be anchored in knowing who you are.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that brings out the best of anything, in anything, let alone our craft. Yeah. Though I do think that initial panic or tendency to panic is a great teacher if you let it be. All right.
Should we launch to our last question? What's our last question, Helen?
What are you dreaming up for the future? Is anyone ready to take the question? Okay, I'll go first. What I am dreaming of for the future is how we take our work forward to the place where, for example, if I were cast as Juliet, people wouldn't go, ah, yes, the Black Juliet. Just treat it simply as it is. Do you know what I mean? Where we can celebrate our differences and the incredibly rich stories and details of the truth of who we are without othering people for those precise differences. Yes. And in terms of things that I'm like doing, that I'm dreaming of for the future, there's a novel that when I mentioned it to my parents, the English translation of it is called Love Unto Crypt. They collectively gasped because they both read it and loved it and still remembered it from when they first read it back in their time as young people. And it's a cornerstone piece of Ethiopian literature, and it's in the mail. And I'm really excited to meet that story and understand my parents a little better and see where that may take me. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. I can't wait to hear about this book too.
Oh, you will.
Okay, how about you, Tai?
I'm really, like, as a writer and creator, I'm really stuck on love stories right now. And it's really interesting because I'm turning 25 this month, and I'm like, and so I'm dreaming up love stories, and it's like, my one play used to call me Marie is done, but I'm working on my next one, Wee Wee Ma, which is it's a bit of a sequel to Used to Call Me Marie, and it's commissioned through Night Swimming, and so that plays all the women. So like Used to Call Me Marie is guy and girl and cool. And like, I love it. My favorite thing ever. But, and then Wee Wee Ma is about the woman talking about the men. So it's like all the behind the scene doors woman conversation that would have happened in those stories. Because I just felt like I wasn't done with those stories yet. And I could take a completely different perspective on them. So I'm just spending a lot of time dreaming about these women and who they were and who they fell in love with and why and why we fall in love and why we pick the boys we pick. And I'm translating Used to Call Me Marie into Michif and Cree this month. And so I'm also dreaming up what the world would have sounded like then.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like I'm going to translate the whole thing, and the play's never going to be done fully in language. Maybe it is. I can't do that. If you can tell me an actor who can, great. So I'm just spending a lot of time dreaming about the love stories that are behind me. And I like one day when I'm like married and 40, I'm gonna look back on this time and be like, oh my God, I was really trying to crack something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But it's all like I'm just like obsessed with love, these love stories I've found. And so I'm dreaming up what they would have looked like what they would have worn, what the wedding dresses looked like, what they would have sounded like, what they would have what the pony would have looked like, and that's kind of where my head's at these days.
Yeah. How about you, Mieko?
Oh, well, I have, we think, an upcoming production of my new play, Burning Mom, happening at the Royal Manitoba Theatre Centre. And it's a one-person show I've written. It's really a tribute to my mom, and it's about her journey of going to Burning Man the year after my father passed away in 2010. And so weirdly, I think I'm rediscovering that play is about hope. And I feel like that's kind of what we need right now. So
Totally.
living in that play has actually been pretty great, but it's still so up in the air. It's hard to, I'm getting excited, but I'm nervous about getting too excited because I don't know what's going to happen or how it's going to happen or what it's going to look like or if it's going to look like what I imagined it's going to look like. And it's my first A-House show as a director. I'm directing the show. And so I'm excited but nervous about that too. But like, I'm super excited about it, having that huge space and stage with one person and how I'm going to fill that and figure that out. So I'm really thankful to have like a lot of support on that. And I don't know, just we're just all kind of figuring out the puzzle together. And I'm thankful to have some great partners on that. And I'm just starting to think about a couple of new plays. So I'm kind of in that exciting place. It doesn't happen very often. I don't know if you have found this, Tai, but there's a really exciting thing when you're at the very beginning of an idea, where it's like everything is possible and nothing's been written. So it's completely malleable. So I'm using a kind of a parallel historical story. Yeah, it takes place in a parallel history. Yeah, which I've never written before. So I think that'll be kind of fun. And I have a secret project. I'm working on a novel. So I secretly work on that once in a while.
Awesome.
Shh, no one knows.
Except everyone watching this now.
So I think those are kind of my little things that are, I work on when I have a few minutes here and there. Yeah.
Well, great.
Ah.
Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope this was a great means of getting to meet us in a time where you can't really meet anyone in person. Is anything you guys would like to say before we shut the cameras off?
It's just been great to like have a chance to work with the two of you and Daryl, Chantel, everybody at the Citadel, just in this sort of time of reimagining, right? And looking over what has happened, but also looking to the future, and it feels hopeful. So I'm really thankful to have you two.
Likewise.
Great.
And like I look forward to seeing Citadel audiences when we can go back.
Yeah.
Like I just keep thinking about when we're back, what that's gonna feel like.
Yeah.
What a triumph.
Then it'll be a party.
Oh yeah. People are gonna be so excited to get back in the theater. So
yeah, and sit with people and experience things en masse the way that you just can't. Yeah, it'll be great. If there's one thing that theater people know how to do, it's party.
coming.
Yeah. Well, hi everyone. Stay safe, stay kind.